was now about the 6th hour, and there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour, while the sun's light failed. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Then Jesus, calling out with a loud voice, said,
So I was about 12 or 13 when I started experimenting with drugs. Well into 15, 16 years old, I was, smoking pot every day, dabbling in pills and ecstasy and acid and alcohol. And by my 20s, I was an everyday user. Chris and I were married in 2009. I remember I couldn't wait to get back in Jacksonville so I could go get my drugs and get away for the weekend. And of course I did, I told my husband that I was going to the store, I would be back, and I just didn't come back. 2 days later, he would not let me in the house. He was like, I'm not letting you in here intoxicated. And I was driving, and I remember swerving a couple times. I was thinking to myself, get it together, you're on a bridge now. I got to my destination, and 10 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. It was the police. I came to the door, and they asked if I had been driving on the Buckman Bridge, and I was like, well, yeah. They took me to the back of the cop car, and we went back to the Buckman Bridge. At the end of 2010, I got sentenced to prison. And I remember looking up at that gun tower thinking, this can't be it. This cannot be the rest of my life. I didn't know who Christ was. I didn't really know who he was, but I knew about him. And I knew that I could not carry that load by myself. I couldn't bear the shame anymore, and the guilt and the fear and the anxiety and the hopelessness. And I knew that if there was anybody that could help in this situation, it was going to be him. He was my only hope. I couldn't look to an appeal. I couldn't look to my husband. I couldn't look to my mother. I had to look up. And I asked him to come inside my heart and told him that if he could do anything with my life, he could have it, because I was done. I'd completely wrecked it. I made a mess out of things. And I knew he could restore it, though. And then just radically after that, God started showing up in just amazing ways, just working behind the scenes. Shortly after, I got transferred to a faith and character compound called Hernando. Those 8 years at Hernando, I just got to soak in the presence of God, and I was so hungry to learn more about God. I was so hungry to be in his presence, because he was the one thing that was filling my heart with peace and with joy. And I was slowly healing from the inside. I was slowly coming to realize who he saw me to be. And I think about when he said, it is finished. I'm not worthy. The Savior of the world, the perfect Son, took my place. There's nothing that I could do to make him change his mind of me. His love never changes. And so the real miracles happen inside of our hearts when we go from dark to light. When he can take a blackened heart, a dark heart, and he can heal it and restore it and redeem it. That to me is the miracle, is a restored and redeemed life.